Jeff Calhoun, Don Black, and Ivan Menchell. The director, the conceiver, the director, the captain of our ship. This is Don Black, who wrote the lyrics to every song that you heard. And this is the brilliant Ivan Menchell, who wrote the book, who really very, very good. So guys, come on and sit down, fellas. Sit down. This is a good? Okay. So I figured, I'd ask a couple of questions, and then
I missed what you were saying. Is this on a blog or something?
we're tweeting live.
I don't even know what that means.
I know. Well,
What does that mean, really?
it means, do we have to go into that right now?
I don't know what I'm participating in.
Well, it's not dirty, I can tell you that. You're being, no, it's text. You know how politicians and pop stars get into trouble because of their live tweets?
Is that what's going to happen?
We're tweeting live, so we hope someone will pick it up and find a way to embarrass us all.
That should not be difficult, knowing this crew.
Yeah, knowing this group. Okay, so it is a real treat for us to have this creative team stay. Usually they get out of town before the reviews come out and before we get to ask them to do things like this. Don lives in London, Ivan lives in Los Angeles, and Jeff lives in New York, and they're ready to head out tomorrow morning, so it's a real honor to have them here. So I had a couple of questions. Donnie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I had a question. This is a big deal for me today, because this is 4 years living with this project. Being in every moment of every rehearsal, every creative meeting, literally every second there was involvement with the show, I was there. Today, I was brave enough to not come to the matinee. But I was a wreck the whole time, going, how can it go on without me being there and sending love? So because I didn't get a vibe, how was the show this afternoon? Because you always think if you're not there, it's not going to work.
This was my first time not seeing it too, and Ivan says, it was the best show ever, right?
Oh, then I should stay away more often, apparently.
Absolutely. So, a couple of little questions to get the ball rolling, and I know these guys will talk, will take it over. Because we have the lyricist and the book writer here, as you saw with this team, Frank Wildhorn on music, Ivan Menchell wrote the book, Don Black writing the lyrics, and Jeff running it all. Having three people of such incredible talent writing lyrics, book, and music, the nature of I'm sure it's a bit of a mystery to all of us how it actually happens. And how that collaboration really works. And my question for Don is why is it necessary for you as an artist to have a book writer that you trust and have confidence in rather than want to do it all? And is there an interesting example in this process where you were grateful that you had each other?
Well, shall I? Yes. Stephen Sondheim.
And there's our collaboration.
Stephen Sondheim, who is, as we all know, a genius. When you go to any Sondheim show, you only think of Stephen Sondheim. Nearly everything is sung, if you look at Sweeney Todd and Sunday in the Park with George and all of his wonderful work. And yet the book writer gets an amazing credit. The reason is simple. Stephen says he needs someone to kick him off, to suggest an area that he can do his thing. He's a musical dramatist, but he cannot think of the actual original setting. So therefore, he is very generous when it comes to crediting the book writer. I need a book writer to stimulate me to write a song. And the job of a lyric
I've been
writer,
stimulating him now for 3.5 years. If anybody wants to know.
well, no, the job of a lyricist is basically to read the book of a musical and rape it. Literally take the best bits of that book and make it sing. That's what we do. So when he writes a scene and it's wonderful, I say, I'm sorry, but that's a song. And that's basically how it works. It's an indefinable thing, how it comes together. But
And why do I need Don Black?
yes.
Well, without him, you'd have this scene, could be really wonderful, but then it would just lead up to without Don. I think the lyricist really is the emotion of the piece. So much, of what is sung, you wouldn't want to hear spoken. It's so intense, and it's larger than life. And I think that's what the lyrics and the music brings to the show.
It's too late to turn back now.
That deputy I shot is up there in heaven now, bragging and making a fuss. Oh yeah, proud that he was shot by me. No one will remember him, but they'll sure remember us.
I mean, they do say, if you read the history books of musicals, that the song comes in when it's so emotional, it has to be sung. And a great example, I think, of this is the song you've heard this afternoon, Dying Ain't So Bad. That scene where it's leading up to, she says, you could die, Clyde could die, and she says, I better. And then she sings Dying Ain't So Bad. It's a song, it just takes you to the sky, as Alan J. Lerner used to say.
And I'd rather breathe in life than dusty air. Dying ain't so bad. Not if you both go together. Only when you're left behind does it get sad. But a short and loving life, short and loving life, that ain't so bad.
It's what musicals are all about. And that's a great example, I think, of where a song is needed to take you to a different level.
But I also, and apropos of that song, I remember a very interesting discussion this week between the two of you about that particular song where she sings Dying Ain't So Bad, as long as you both go together or as long as we both go together.
Dying ain't so bad. Not if you both go together.
And the discussion about the choice of that pronoun, whether it should be you or we, was extremely interesting and alert to me. Do you want to pick up on that one, Jeff?
No, it's really between them.
Well, the thing is, if you say you, it's more general, and I think the whole audience can relate to that. If if you both go together, we is more specific, and I do want her to try a performance with we. She's only done you every time.
Yes, yeah.
And it would just see. I mean, I think there's enough emotion in the song without changing from you to we.
And Don, with all due respect, the request came the day before we opened to change that word. And I always acquiesce to these two gentlemen, except for 24 hours before an opening night. Laura's been with the show for 2 years, the woman who played Bonnie. So for me to go in the day before opening and saying, I want you to change every time you say you to we, she had so much to worry about, I just didn't think it was fair to her.
Yes.
But in the next incarnation, it is certainly worth doing that. And that's my job. My job is just to take what they do and put it on stage. Because I don't write. They're the writers. I interpret. My skill is interpretive, not creative.
Well,
Because create, you have a blank slate. They had a blank page, a blank music score, and they fill it in.
but you were very much a part of the storytelling of this whole thing.